I absolutely adore rhubarb in baked goods. I look forward to baking with it every year in the springtime. Rhubarb itself is kind of tart, so the combination of tart and sweet in a pie or pastry really does it for me, really revs my engine. And this year I've decided to make rhubarb cookies, which is a new endeavor for me, but first I need to acquire the rhubarb. And it's still a little early in the season for rhubarb. It's only the first half of April, so you can't find it everywhere at the moment, but I know that there is one grocery store a couple miles from me that carries it pretty much year-round, so I'm going to run there right now. Let's make rhubarb cookies. I didn't know how much to get, so I just got a lot. If I have too much, I'll just make something else with rhubarb later on. First things first, I'm starting by dicing up the rhubarb. My vision for these is that I want them to be kind of like chocolate chip cookies, except with rhubarb instead of the chocolate chips. I'm slicing the rhubarb into a bunch of different sizes because I want there to be rhubarb throughout, but then I also want you to get some big bites of rhubarb when you bite into these cookies. I'm aiming to dice up about a cup. And uh-oh, it's looking like I diced up way more than a cup, but we're just gonna roll with it. I'm going to set the rhubarb aside for now so that we can make our batter. Here's everything you'll need. 1 3/4 cups all-purpose flour, 1 cup of brown sugar, 1 large egg, 1 softened stick of butter, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon salt, 1/2 teaspoon baking powder, and 1/2 teaspoon baking soda. In a large bowl, I'm going to add in the brown sugar, the egg, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and the softened stick of butter. And I'm going to get in there with a fork and really show these ingredients who's in charge. I'm vigorously beating everything together, working out as many clumps as possible and creating this delightful frothy brown buttery mixture, which visually can only be described as Wendy's Frosty-esque. It looks delicious. Now it's time to add our dry ingredients. Starting with the all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon salt, and 1/2 teaspoon baking soda. And I'm going to beat that together well until a dough begins to form. And now we're ready to add the rhubarb. This is probably about 1.5 cups, which might be too much, but I'm just gonna go for it. Life's all about taking little risks and just seeing what happens. We can deal with the consequences later. And if your dough is looking a little dry before adding the rhubarb, don't panic. The moisture in the rhubarb is going to make everything nice and wet again. It'll all work out. Here is my finished batter. It is jam-packed with rhubarb, but so far, I have no regrets. And now we're ready to form our cookies. I'm going to use a spoon and my hands to form little 1-inch balls of dough, and admittedly they are a little messy because this dough is wet. But I'm gonna see how they come out. I'm trusting the process. I'm going to bake the cookies at 375 degrees. I've set a timer for 12 minutes and we'll see how we do. They might need a little bit more time than that. I will keep you posted on our progress. I'm also waiting on the rest of the batter. I'm gonna see how these come out. If I need to add more flour because I went hard with the rhubarb, we can do that. If this first batch is a little bit of a wash, there's still hope for the second batch. Okay, it's been 15 minutes. I just pulled the cookies out of the oven, and here's how they look. I'm gonna let them set up on the tray a little bit more for a few more minutes. That'll give them a chance to keep kind of cooking on the tray, just firm up a little bit. And then I'll transfer them to a cooling rack, finish the other batch, and then we'll try them. I am so excited. I think they're so cute. Sure, they're a little bit misshapen, but the pink rhubarb coming through, so pretty, so spring. I can't wait to try this, so let's dive right in. The texture, they are a little bit fluffier than I was expecting, but I'm not mad about it. So very good. They're so good. That little bite of tart with like the sweet brown sugar cinnamony cookie, very well balanced. Just a little note from me while editing. The cookie itself almost tastes like a brown sugar Pop-Tart, and the texture is very similar to a muffin top. These were also completely gone in less than 48 hours. In these trying times, I keep a little mental list of things to live for, and I would say that rhubarb season is pretty high up on that list. So we made it. All right, well, I'm gonna go eat 3 or 4 more cookies. Happy spring, and it's very likely that my next video will also be me making something with rhubarb because I have a lot left in the fridge. My camera is going to run out of memory, and so is my brain.